Okay, good afternoon. We're back here again because of new circumstances, but we appreciate your coming in on short order. So, today, we saw what happens when Americans fight back against disastrous policies. Americans made their voices heard. Donald Trump rescinded the OMB order. Now he should rescind the nomination of Russell Vought. When the Trump administration announced this awful directive on Monday night, we knew immediately it was short-sighted, disastrous, cruel, and dumb. It was clear then, as it is now, that the directive was given without any comprehension of what it actually called for, let alone the ramifications on literally hundreds of millions of Americans. And the American people are outraged, from one end of the country to the other, and it is clear that President Trump and his minions are feeling the heat. Did President Trump know he was kneecapping cops and firefighters from purchasing literally life-saving equipment like bulletproof vests and breathing gear? Did President Trump know that he was destroying Puerto Rico's assistance program, leaving 1 million Americans hungry? Did President Trump know that he was essentially shuttering community health centers, rural hospitals, food pantries? If he didn't, Democrats made sure he learned it real quick. I told all of you this week the proposal was best described with the 3 C's: chaotic, careless, cruel. And Senate Democrats responded with 3 letters of our own: NFW. This should be a lesson to President Trump that following Russell Vought and Project 2025 is a loser. Russell Vought was the architect of Project 2025. He was the architect of the OMB memo. He will be the architect of more losses for President Trump if he keeps Vought on the team. There's no doubt about it, this memo was a catastrophe. And I assume President Trump will hold those behind this memo accountable, or he's going to get into more and more trouble if he follows their dictates. If Donald Trump has actually decided, and finally, to put the needs of Americans first, he must rescind the nomination of Russell Vought immediately. Though the Trump administration failed in this tactic, it's no secret they will come back again and again and again. The Trump administration, feeling the heat, rescinded this heartless memo. But it's also clear by their intent they still plan to freeze funding in this way or another way. And whatever hoops they may try to jump through, we know they will come back at this again and again and again because their billionaire buddies want to implement Project 2025, and they will try any which way they can to get it done. But whenever they do, I promise you that Senate Democrats will be there to call it out, to fight back, to defend American families. Senator Murray.
Well, never in my time in the Senate have I seen a president cause so much chaos and panic and damage in such a short amount of time, as President Trump has caused with his brazen and illegal move to freeze federal grants across the government and across the country. The Trump administration, through a combination of sheer incompetence, cruel intentions, and a willful disregard of the law, caused real harm and chaos for millions over the span of just 48 hours. But we learned something important. When the American people speak out with one voice, when regular people stand up, it makes a difference. This victory belongs to everyone who raised their voice. But make no mistake, the fight is far from over. My phone was ringing off the hook, and it still is. You know, everyday Americans actually understand that a freeze like this would hurt them, cause serious problems in their lives, and make their lives worse. Homeless shelters kicking out kids, clinical trials getting canceled, child care providers laying people off, roads and bridges not getting built, cops not getting hired. You know, while people like Elon Musk may not feel the pain of a single one of those cuts or delays, everyday Americans who work hard every day expect a fair shake and expect the government to be there when it counts. They knew this would be catastrophic. But again, and please understand this, the fight is not over. Because even though after the intense outcry from the American people, Trump has now admitted this was a colossal mistake by rescinding the guidance, the threat, the chaos, the panic can't just be wiped away. We have a lot of work to do right now to make sure all the funding now actually does get moving again. This is not like turning on a light switch. And as we just saw through the chaotic rollout, it's complicated stuff. So we will all be watching very closely to make sure the funds get to where they belong ASAP. And even afterwards, no one is forgetting what they just tried to do and what they are still doing. Make no mistake, the Trump administration is still illegally holding up billions of dollars across the federal government through their day one executive order. You don't have to take my word for it. The White House press secretary just said, and I quote, "This is not a rescission of the federal funding freeze. The president's executive orders on federal funding remain in full force and effect and will be rigorously implemented." That means they are still blocking investments Congress passed into law to help our communities. They are still blocking things like international aid, clean air and water projects, investments in new clean energy jobs, and a lot of other projects funded by the bipartisan infrastructure law, which Trump is stopping with his illegal executive orders. And aside from the fact they have not stopped blocking this funding illegally, their blatant attempt this week to illegally freeze trillions more in one fell swoop is, mark my words, a clear sign of what is to come. More lawless cuts, more chaos, more pain for our families. Trump has made it clear he's not going to stop unless Congress and the American people make clear we are not going to stand for this. And we have an opportunity now to make that clear when we vote on Russ Vought's nomination to be budget director. He is the chief architect of Project 2025, which left its digital fingerprints all over the illegal OMB guidance that was issued. This is a man who time and again has refused to say he will follow the law, including to me and to many others directly. Every lawmaker who doesn't want to see funds that they work to secure for their state, funds they know their families are counting on, ripped away, must vote no, and that's a start. But as long as the Trump administration is illegally holding back funds and harming families, this fight is not over. I and all of my colleagues will keep working to hold this administration accountable, make sure our communities get the resources they are owed, and make certain President Trump follows the law as intended by Congress.
Thank you, Senator Murray. Yes, Mr. Hill.
First, get your interpretation of what this means. Is it your understanding that all the money that was implicated by OMB in the freeze is now lifted, but the executive orders that President Trump put out there freezing money is still in effect?
Correct. They're still trying to do this. Now, they felt the heat from the American people. We helped explain to the American people how bad this was, but they're going to keep at it. The executive orders are still there. Vote is still their nominee for the head of OMB, and they're going to try to find every which way to get this done, but we are going to stand there and stop them. Like they felt the heat on this, they're going to feel the heat any other time. They will go in a different route to try and do the same thing. But we don't have any illusion that this is still going to happen unless they rescind everything. The executive order, they fire vote, and make a commitment that they're not going to illegally freeze funds anywhere.
I would just amend one thing that Senator Schumer said. That is our understanding at this minute, this second of this day, because very clearly they are changing things constantly every single day. So I wouldn't be surprised in the next hour if we hear something else from the press secretary, from OMB, from whoever. So what we are telling you is what we know right now today. And I'll tell you what that causes, is all of the people who have been calling us are still sitting in chaos.
Yeah.
What's going to be the next thing that comes down? Is this the real or is there something else? And to me, that is truly frightening.
And those executive orders are still in effect. That's the danger,
Correct.
and they're still trying to do this. They're just feeling the heat, and they're trying to, throw out like a bullfighter, a red cape. We're not falling for it.
Just to be clear,
Yes.
are you planning to sue to lift the hold on the infrastructure and IRA funding?
There's a suit that the attorneys general have filed in the Rhode Island court right now. Yes, ma'am.
Are you guys changing how you work, with the constant changing news Do you have more staff or later? Like, how is that working? And how are you navigating this
Look,
new world?
great, that's a great
We
question.
breathe every day.
Yeah, but Bannon has this idea of flooding the zone. And he's trying to fool us. Their view is they'll put so many bad things up that we won't pay enough attention to any of them. But we're being focused. We're being pointed. When this executive order and this funding freeze came out, we focused all our fire on that, even though there were many other bad things being done, and we will return to those bad things. But we're not letting them trick us with this flood the zone strategy. Yes?
Just building on that, what things are you going to focus on when there is so many shiny objects any given day? Are there certain themes?
The worst ones, and there are a lot of them. And we have a lot of energy, and we have a lot of talent in our caucus, and you're going to see us focusing on a whole bunch of different things. It just so happened that this funding freeze was so broad and so cruel that we knew we could arouse the American people. And one other good thing happened. The American people see that we can win. We haven't won this fight, don't get me wrong, but see that we can have some real impact, let me put it that way, that we can have some real impact on this Trump administration, which would like everyone to believe they're impervious to public sentiment. They're not. And we showed that with this, what we've done.
And our caucus is going to focus on anything that hurts our constituents.
You bet. We got plenty of energy and plenty of time to do all of that. Yes?
So then, is this a victory for you all, or is this, as you also put it, an effort to?
It's a long war. This may be a small victory, but it's a long war, and we got to continue to fight it. Yes?
This is a question for Senator Murray about the top line talks. Earlier today, you were saying that this would have a negative effect on those. Has the proposal changed your outlook?
Let me make it very clear. Vote is going to be voted on tomorrow in the Budget Committee. He will go to the floor for confirmation. If the Republicans support him to be their OMB director and confirm him to do that, he has made it clear from across the board that he believes he has the power. We believe it's illegal. In fact, we know it's illegal to abscond funds and to spend them any other way. As long as he is willing to do that, and he's willing to follow through on it, then it makes it virtually impossible for us to reach a bipartisan compromise on appropriations.
Yes. Last question, young lady over there.
Senator Murray, since you called on Senator Graham to halt this nomination of Mr. Vogt, have you heard anything what have you heard from your Republican colleagues? Has there been any response or movement that suggests that?
No, Senator Merkley is ranking member on budget, and I do not believe he's heard from any of them yet.
Yeah.
Do you guys continue to protest other nominees?
Yes, absolutely. And let me tell you, I think our members of our committee today did a very good job in showing so many of the problems with the RFK nomination. There are a number of nominees, him, the DNI nominee, who we are going very strongly at, and we hope our Republican colleagues will join us. Thank you, everybody.